In the digital frontier of Roblox, myths are born, legends emerge. Few figures are as mysterious as 007N7, hacker, father, survivor, at times villain, at others sympathetic. This is the story of 007N7, what we know, what we suspect, and what communities believe. Join us as we dive into the lore, the controversies, and the heart behind the name 007N7. "007N7 is said to have first appeared around 2014, tied to exploits and hacking in popular Roblox games. He's most often associated with Teen Cool Kid, one of the platform's well-known hacker/exploiter communities. 007N7 is said to have first appeared around 2014, tied to exploits and hacking in popular Roblox games. He's most often associated with Teen Cool Kid, one of the platform's well-known hacker/exploiter communities. Some fans suggest that 007N7 was an alternate account or an influential figure within that community. In the lore, Cool Kid is described as his adoptive son, which adds a personal layer to the myth. One origin tale claims 007N7 was banned from Roblox at some point, but continued influencing events through alternate accounts and the tools he once shared. Among the acts 007N7 is known or rumored for using or distributing a tool commonly called the Cool GUI, an exploit used to manipulate popular Roblox games, creating chaos in servers, destabilizing game mechanics, teleporting, or otherwise disrupting play, building a reputation that was equal parts feared and infamous, a figure whispered about in forums and fan communities. These stories live at the border between fact and folklore. For many players, the mere mention of 007N7 sparks stories that spread quickly across chats and message boards. In the fan-driven game universe Forsaken, 007N7 is portrayed as a survivor, a purchasable character with a set of in-game abilities that echo his hacker persona. Key traits attributed to 007N7 in that lore include passive, an uncanny sense for the farthest survivor spawn points, a gameplay nod to his strategic edge. Clone, the ability to create a short-lived duplicate to mislead opponents, a mechanic that reflects deception and escape. Teleportation, Cool GUI homage sudden movement to distant spawns with trade-offs and cooldowns, hinting at the exploitative tools of his legend. Beyond mechanics, the lore frames 007N7 as a figure who once reveled in chaos but later sought something different, a paternal instinct, regret, and attempts at redemption. "007N7 is not the kind of character who fits neatly into hero or villain boxes. He lives in the gray space between chaos and compassion, and that's what makes his story so compelling. On the surface, his reputation comes from exploits and mischief. He's known as a hacker, someone who bent the rules of Roblox and disrupted the experiences of others. That side of him feels rebellious, almost anarchic, the player who doesn't play by anyone's rules. For some in the community, that makes him a villain. For others, it makes him a legend. But there's another side to 007N7 that complicates things, the father figure. In the lore, he adopts Cool Kid, and that choice shifts his identity. Suddenly, he isn't just a hacker causing chaos, he's someone trying to protect, to guide, maybe even to redeem himself through the bond of family. It's rare to see that kind of emotional depth in a story born out of Roblox, and it's part of why players still talk about him. This duality is at the core of his character. On one hand, he represents unpredictability, disruption, and danger. On the other, he represents regret, responsibility, and the search for redemption. He is both trickster and caretaker, both outlaw and father. That tension is what draws so many people into his story. Because 007N7 reminds us that even the most chaotic figures can have a human side. And in a world of avatars and usernames, that reminder makes him feel strangely real. One of the most fascinating parts of 007N7's legend isn't just what we know, it's what we don't. His story is full of gaps, contradictions, and mysteries that the community has filled in with speculation, theories, and debates. The first big question is identity. Some insist that 007N7 and Cool Kid are not two people at all, but simply two faces of the same player. Others defend the idea that they are father and son, with 007N7 adopting C00 Kid as part of his attempt to turn away from chaos. The lore pushes the adoptive father story, but the overlap in their reputations leaves fans wondering if it's all just one big twist, two names, one person, and a legacy of confusion. Then there's the mystery of his current status. The original 007N7 account is believed to have been banned, but new accounts sometimes appear claiming to be him. Are they real? Are they imposters? Or is 007N7 still out there, quietly watching, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge? Nobody knows for sure, and that uncertainty fuels the myth. Finally, there's the question of truth versus fiction. Many of the most famous stories about 007N7, the hacks, the exploits, the battles with other figures in the community, come from word of mouth, forum threads, or fan-made lore. Which parts really happened, and which parts are storytelling that grew bigger over time? The line is blurry, and maybe that's the point. What's certain is this: the mysteries surrounding 007N7 keep his story alive. Every unanswered question invites more discussion, more theories, and more fan creations. And in the world of Roblox, where communities thrive on imagination, sometimes the unknown is even more powerful than the truth. To understand why 007N7 still matters today, we have to look at his impact on the Roblox community and the meaning his story carries. He's not just a single-player account or a piece of forsaken lore. He's a symbol, and symbols have power. First, 007N7's story serves as a cautionary tale. His exploits remind us how fragile online spaces can be when people use tools to disrupt rather than create. Players who lived through those chaotic moments saw firsthand how one person's actions could shake an entire server. In this way, 007N7 is remembered not just as a character, but as a warning: when the rules of play are broken, the trust of the community is broken too. But at the same time, 007N7 is more than just a hacker story. He embodies themes that resonate far beyond Roblox, themes of redemption, regret, and family. His role as C00 Kid's father figure turned what could have been a simple, villain tale into something layered and emotional. Suddenly, he wasn't just a disruptor. He was a person, or at least a character, trying to make things right after years of chaos. That kind of narrative sticks with people because it feels human. Then there's his cultural significance. Mentions of 007N7 pop up in forums, in memes, in community jokes, and of course, in Forsaken itself. He's not just remembered, he's referenced, again and again, across spaces where Roblox players gather. His name has become shorthand for both the dangers and the mysteries of the Roblox underground. Ultimately, 007N7's impact lies in how he bridges two worlds: the world of real online exploits, and the world of collaborative storytelling. His actions may have started as disruptions, but the community transformed them into legend. And legends, once created, never really disappear. With a figure as complex as 007N7, it's no surprise that controversy follows him everywhere. In fact, debates about who he was, what he did, and what he stood for may be just as important as the lore itself. The first major controversy is about exploiting versus fair play. To some, 007N7 represents everything wrong with hacking: broken games, ruined experiences, and unfair advantages. They see him as a symbol of selfishness, someone who valued chaos over community. But to others, his exploits were part of the thrill, a reminder that Roblox wasn't just about rules, but also about pushing limits. For them, he's less a villain and more a trickster, someone who showed what was possible when you weren't afraid to break the mold. The second debate centers on truth versus exaggeration. Which stories about 007 and 7 are factual, and which ones grew bigger in the retelling? Did he really mastermind every exploit he's credited with? Or has the legend of his name overshadowed the reality of his actions? Fans continue to argue over what belongs to history, and what belongs to myth. Then there's the issue of account legitimacy. The original 007 and 7 account is believed to be long gone, but new accounts pop up now and then claiming to be him. Are these the real deal? Or just imposters riding the wave of his reputation? Each new sighting sparks debate, with some swearing it's authentic and others dismissing it as fake. And finally, there's the ethical question: should someone who disrupted games and exploited systems be remembered, even celebrated, in this way? Or does turning him into a legend glamorize behavior that hurt the community? This divide has no easy answer, and it reflects a larger tension inside online culture, between condemning bad actors and acknowledging the stories they leave behind. At the heart of these controversies is one truth: 007 and 7 is impossible to ignore. Whether you see him as a hacker, a father, a villain, or a tragic anti-hero, his name still sparks discussion. And in the end, that ongoing debate is part of what keeps his legend alive. For all the stories, all the rumors, and all the lore surrounding 007 and 7, one thing remains clear: there is far more that we don't know than what we do. And maybe that's why his name still carries so much weight. The biggest mystery is his true identity. Was 007 and 7 a single player? A group of people using the same name? Or even an alternate account of someone more famous in the Roblox underground? To this day, no one has been able to confirm who was really behind the screen. That uncertainty has turned him into more of a legend than a person. We also don't know the extent of his exploits. Did 007 and 7 truly create or control the tools he's credited with, like the infamous C00GUI, or was he simply a skilled user who became associated with it over time? Were the most dramatic stories, the game-breaking hacks, the server-wide chaos, accurate reports, or exaggerations passed along until they became accepted as fact? Without proof, the truth is blurred. Then there's the question of his fate. The original account is believed to be banned, but beyond that, the trail runs cold. Some believe 007 and 7 still lingers in the shadows, using alternate accounts to keep watch. Others are convinced he's gone for good, leaving only his legend behind. And some fans suggest a middle ground, that he may have walked away voluntarily, tired of the chaos, letting the myth of his name live on without him. Finally, the deepest unknown lies in his motives. Was he driven by boredom, by curiosity, by the thrill of breaking rules? Or did he have a bigger vision, something personal, something hidden, that no one ever fully understood? His lore paints him as a father figure full of regret, but how much of that is storytelling, and how much reflects the real person behind the account? These unanswered questions are what give 007 and 7 his staying power. In online culture, sometimes mystery is stronger than certainty. And with 007 and 7, the lack of clarity has allowed his story to grow larger than life, a puzzle that no one has fully solved, and perhaps never will. With all the chaos, mystery, and legend surrounding 007 and 7, what can we actually take away from his story? Beyond the myths, the exploits, and the debates, there are lessons that resonate far beyond Roblox itself. The first lesson is simple but powerful: actions have consequences. Even in a virtual world, where rules may feel flexible and consequences less immediate, the choices we make affect others. 007 and 7's exploits disrupted games, frustrated players, and shaped community perception, proving that online behavior matters, and that the digital and social worlds are closely intertwined. The second lesson is about redemption and human complexity. 007 and 7 isn't a one-dimensional character. He's a hacker and trickster, yes, but he's also a father figure, a protector, and a character struggling with regret. That duality shows us that people, even avatars and usernames, can contain contradictions. Redemption, even partial or fictional, adds depth and makes his story memorable. A third reflection is the power of community storytelling. 007N7 lives on not just because of what he did, but because of how the community remembers him. Forums, fan art, memes, and in-game lore all contribute to a shared narrative that outlives any single account. This demonstrates how online communities create myths, and how myths shape culture. Finally, there's the lesson of embracing mystery. So much of 007N7's story is unknown, from his real identity to the full extent of his exploits. Those unanswered questions invite curiosity, discussion, and imagination. They remind us that sometimes, the stories we don't fully understand are the ones that endure the longest. Taken together, these reflections show that 007N7 is more than just a hacker, a character, or a username. He is a mirror for the communities he touched. A reminder that actions, motives, and stories, real or imagined, ripple far beyond the screen. His legend is a testament to the power of myth, the complexity of human, or digital, behavior, and the enduring impact of the unknown. And so the legend of 007N7 lives on, part myth, part memory, and part unanswered question. We may never know the full truth, and perhaps that is exactly what keeps his story alive, whispered across forums, avatars, and games. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Roblox's hidden legends, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another journey into the mysteries of the digital world. There are countless stories like 007N7 waiting to be uncovered, and some of them are darker, stranger, and more fascinating than you can imagine. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, in these virtual worlds, legends are only as real as the stories we tell.